Hi everyone, this is Matt from tracyandmatt.co.uk, and on behalf of Currys I have the Samsung Galaxy Tab S. This is 10.5 inch version, and we're going to do a quick unboxing video. So first of all, just need to break the seal on the side here, just pick it open like so, and open the box, and inside we have tablet immediately on top, and the moment I pick it up I can feel how thin it is, but we'll come back to that in just a second. Also inside we have the quick start guide and the warranty card. We have a UK charger with the sliding third pin and a USB socket on the bottom. It's actually a 2 amp charger, and then we have a USB to micro USB sync and charge cable. Obviously works with that charger. And that's all we have in the box. So let's just push all of that to one side and grab the tablet back, and let's see, we have a little flap here to open her up like so. The version I have here is the bronze edging to it, and as I said already, the thing that you immediately notice when you handle this tablet is just how thin it is. It's only 6.6 millimeters thick, which seems absolutely amazing. And having handled and being used to other tablets, it does feel extremely thin indeed. So 10.5 inch display is actually 2560 by 1600 pixels, so extremely high resolution, and it's a Super AMOLED capacitive touchscreen capable of displaying the 16 billion colours. We have the Samsung TouchWiz user interface on there as well. In terms of the other stuff, well, let's take a look around. So we have forward-facing camera up front there, as you can see, which is a 2.1 megapixel, capable of shooting 1080p video at 30 frames a second, so pretty cool. Below that, let's just pull these bits off. Below that we have the capacitive buttons on either side, and then a physical push button in the centre. Looking around to the outside, we have the 3.5mm headphone socket there, which is a 4-pole, so you can actually use it with wired headset with a microphone. There's a speaker grill to the side of that, and just in terms of how thin the device is, as you can see here, there's a little bit of a bulbous bit here just to accommodate the headphone socket, because at 3.5mm and then only a 6.6mm device, there's a little bulb there just to kind of accommodate that. Nothing to see really on the bottom. There is just a tiny hole there that you might be able to make out in the centre, or just off to the centre, which is the headphone, the microphone. Back cover's just popped off of this one. Then we have on this side the micro USB sync charge connector, and then a micro SD card socket cover. So it does support micro SD cards, it's quite cool, with a nice little neat cover over it, and another loudspeaker. Then on the top, believe that's the IRDA there in the centre, and then we have an up and down volume control and the power button. Then on the back we have the primary camera, which is an 8 megapixel autofocus, capable of shooting at 3264 by 2448 pixels. That's their native resolution. It is autofocus, and as you can see there, there's also the LED flash, which is again reasonably unusual for tablets to have a flash with a camera, but more and more are having them as sort of time goes by. There's little spring-loaded bits at the bottom here. I think that's to do with when it's on a stand, but we'll discover that as we go along, no doubt. So let's just power up. And wait for that to come on, and immediately, even just with that text, you can see just how high res that is. So we'll just wait for that to power up. We'll just take a little zoom in a little bit there. Let's talk about the rest of the specification. Well, in terms of size, 247mm in terms of the width, 177mm tall, and obviously we've already mentioned the 6.6mm thickness, or thinness if you like. 10.5-inch display, as I've already mentioned, is 2560 by 1600 pixels, so an incredibly high resolution display, and it is Super AMOLED as well, so it's extremely bright, clear and vivid colours from that display. The micro SD card supports up to 128 gig cards, which is pretty cool. The internal memory on this one, this is the 16 gig model, as you may have seen on the back when we flipped it over. There is a 32 gig model available as well. This one has, all both models have 3 gigabytes of RAM, and Wi-Fi supporting 802.11bg, ABGN and AC standard dual band, Wi-Fi direct, DLNA and Wi-Fi hotspot modes. Bluetooth 4 with A2DP and Bluetooth Low Energy, the infrared port that we mentioned on the top. In terms of the operating system, this one ships with Android OS 4.4.2 KitKat, and a chipset, well, it's the octa-core, which is, I guess, kind of somewhat famous amongst the Samsung devices, but it's an octa-core chipset. So we have a quad-core 1.9 processor, it's Cortex A15. Then there's also a quad-core 1.3 Cortex A7, and so the idea there is that it hands off between the two depending on how much processing performance versus how much power. So the 1.3 A7 is a lower power CPU and cores, and then when you've got a much higher demand on the device in terms of processing performance, then it switches to the quad-core 1.9 A15 and run those, which obviously takes a little bit more power, but does have that sort of dual ability. We've got a Mali GPU. In terms of sensors, we've got accelerometer, gyro and compass. We've got GPS, which supports GLONASS and assisted GPS. And in terms of battery, we have a listed 7,900 milliamp hour battery, so a pretty high capacity battery there as well, and a claimed claimed usage time of 11 hours with the display on, or a music playback, audio only playback time of 121 hours, which, if that's correct, is pretty staggering. So let's delve a little deeper and let's take a look now. So we're just going to quickly skip through these bits and pieces, and I will go ahead and connect to our Wi-Fi network. In fact, just while I'm doing that, you can see the keyboard, it's pretty large. We do have the sort of fourth row of keys with the numeric keys above, which is quite nice to see. Makes typing on it a little easier, and there's a little vibrate motor inside, so that we've got the haptic feedback when we actually do touch a key, which is quite nice, and a little tick every time we touch a key, so that's quite nice, particularly if you're going to use the display or use the device for doing a lot of typing and text entry, so that's quite cool to get that on there. So we are now connected to the Wi-Fi network, and we'll just accept the standard stuff, and well, we have no other choice really but to accept all the agreements here. I'm not going to set up my Google account just for the moment. And I'm going to skip through this as quickly as we can, and skip through the personalization and my Samsung account. We'll do that in just a moment. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so as it's telling us at the side, we can swipe in for the various things we've got here: contacts, email, gallery, internet, music, my files, S-Finder video, Chrome, Google, Gmail, and Hangouts and Google Maps. And we can edit what's in there as well, which is quite nice. Obviously got the main screen here with bits and pieces on it. So this is the main home screen with Google search, voice search with our weather, My Galaxy, we've got the Google folder there, Chrome, Play Store, contacts, camera, internet, gallery and settings. Pushing the button at the side, we can see everything all in our launcher, so all the installed applications, all of which look pretty straightforward, pretty standard really, in terms of a sort of a Samsung Galaxy loadout. but one thing that is apparent to me, and I don't use a device typically with the AMOLED display, is just how strong those colours are, particularly the oranges and greens here, nice and bright, and a lot of saturation in that as well. So the display does look really very nice. And again here with these sort of reds and greens, it does look a very nice display. In terms of what other stuff we've got here, we've got folders with my files in, so we've got some example images which we can open in gallery. Again, just really showing off how good that display is. I'm not sure how much that's going to come across in the video footage here. Obviously we're shooting on a standard camera, as it were, but there are some beautiful images there, and obviously they're going to be chosen to be ones that are going to show the display off. Obviously there's their built in or ship with the device, but nevertheless very nice to actually see them there. We've got display here with all the different various panels, which obviously you can swipe back to, and then we have the second panel display here. Got the menu button we can bring up, which is there, and we've also got the back button. The middle button is the home button, which obviously brings us back to here. Double press does S-Voice. Okay. In terms of settings, you can see there you've got our Wi-Fi network, tells us our data usage there, which is pretty useful to see. All things are actually you know, refreshing in the background and using up your connection. In terms of other stuff that we've got in here, let's just jump onto, in fact we'll do with Chrome and head to our site. Being lazy, I'm searching rather than. There we go. So loading very fast again, using broadband and Wi-Fi. So the page is loading pretty quickly. It's rendering pretty rapidly as well, and it's absolutely beautiful on this high-res display. Again with the Super AMOLED, colours look really quite gorgeous. But there's plenty of room to read that, and obviously we can switch around to portrait and then back to landscape. Pretty responsive in doing so. We'll also take a quick look at some video playback. Do a quick search for my YouTube pseudonym. So here we go, we've got Galaxy S5 with our ad playing. Skip that. Full screen. And not really much buffer time there, again overboard. Video playback's quite nice. In terms of the audio volume, so we can wind the volume up and you know, do our review, run some benchmarks and all that kind of stuff. So pretty loud actually in terms of the volume, with the speakers on either side. Do have the stereo speakers, although they are sideways facing, but very loud and actually quite clear in terms of the speakers, so that's pretty good as well. Let's go ahead now and we'll just sign into a Google account and connect so that we can download a few things. There we go, we'll just sign into the Play Store. Yeah, we'll do a quick search because, you know, if you've watched our videos frequently, you'll know that we're going to go ahead and download a Quadrant and run a quick benchmark of the device, just to see how quickly the how well the Tab S 10.5 does perform. We'll pull down our notification area at the top, which is something we did look at already. So you've got to turn the Wi-Fi on and off, location, sound, screen rotation, Bluetooth, adapt display, and V power saving or U power saving. We've got sign-in requests and all that kind of stuff in terms of notifications. We can change our brightness. Again, we can wipe brightness right up, which is actually pretty bright. So we leave that in that midpoint. And we've got our volume control for notifications and all that kind of stuff. It's telling me that Quadrant is now installed, so we'll go ahead and launch that. And we will just switch around this way because Quadrant will run in portrait rather than landscape. So let's run that full benchmark. I would imagine it will get through this reasonably rapidly. And yes, we've already done down to here. So onto the graphics tests. 29 frames a second there. 60. Stuttering a little down, but you know, high 50s and 60s there. Working quite nicely. Again, 60-ish frames a second. And our last test. So let's take a look at that score. I'll see this is just an indicator. As you can see there, our device here, 16,809, pretty rapid again compared to some of the earlier or older devices that you can see down the side here, the HTC One X. We're drastically faster, and you know, really it's kind of thanks to the CPU that we're getting most of that sort of big chunk that you can see there at the top. Again, 16,800, not bad at all. Have seen devices that are faster, but again, it's performed quite well indeed, actually. Let's take a quick look at the camera. I see more and more people using tablet devices to take photos, which I always find a little strange, but nevertheless, we'll just take a little zoom out and take our device there. So we've got, let's pick a colourful side there. As you can see, I'll try and get an angle on there that's going to work quite well. Colours are looking quite good. Takes pictures pretty rapidly. We've got our touch so we can choose the different focus points. Take a quick snap. We've got our auto flash. We've got our settings down the side here. So take a full frame now at 4:3. Again, we've got that shot there. With the automatic flash, we can force that on if we want to, which we'll just do that now. And it takes a little longer to do the focus. We've got the various modes here as well, so you can do panoramic shots, dual camera, so you can shoot front and rear at the same time, HDR modes. Again, we'll just take a quick HDR. Which takes us a few seconds to process. There we go, that's our HDR shot. That's the one with the flash, one without the flash, and various other angles. And again, detail wise, it's a little noise in here. In terms, I guess that's, you know, I moan about it an awful lot. But the JPEG compression used, I think, is excessive on most devices. And that's sort of somewhat self-evident there as well. But clarity isn't bad. I mean, I can take a look here, picking out the detail in the actual background or the surface that I'm shooting on as well. So doing quite well there. So let's move that out of the way. So the camera isn't bad, and again, I see an awful lot of people shooting using tablet devices now, which I find a little strange. But you know, nevertheless, it does happen, and to include a decent camera and a flash on the devices, I suppose, just means that more and more people will be using them. So there we go, that's a reasonably quick look at the Samsung Galaxy Tab S 10.5. Now, thanks to Currys for supplying the review device, and you can actually pick this tablet up from Currys right now. Head over to Currys and check out their site. You'll find details of how you can purchase one of these now, just in time for Christmas, which is ideal. If you want to ask us any questions about this or want to follow us on Twitter, please do so at TracyandMatt, TracyandMatt, or facebook.com/tracyandmatt.co.uk. And I'll be back soon with some more videos and reviews on tracyandmatt.co.uk. But for now, thanks for watching.